The reason for this term project is to analyze the financial performance of two companies from the same industry with one organization headquarters in Florida. Those organizations are Spirit Airlines, with their home office in Miramar, Florida, and JetBlue, headquartered in New York City, New York. December 17, 1903 is the most known and acknowledged date for the kickstart of aviation. Orville and Wilbur Wright made 4 flights in their flyer, the longest of which kept going 59 seconds and secured 852 feet. The Wright brothers' flights joined both power and control, setting another standard for flying. Moving forward to passenger flights, the world's first scheduled passenger air service began in Florida on January 14, 1914. It operated between St. Petersburg and Tampa. This new world, concept, and awareness of flying and aviation took off and allowed for a new era of science, mechanics, and adventure. Aircrafts worked intimately with the military amid World War II, facilitating the war exertion by transporting individuals and material. After World War II, passenger travel rose higher than ever. The federal government revamped their regulations and their organizations to operate and manage the rapidly growing airline industry. New aircraft carriers developed as well as innovations and forms of technology were beginning to revolutionize aviation. Through the creation of the new Civil Aeronautics Board and then the Federal Aviation Agency, the U.S. government persisted to be a piloting force in working to ensure the safety of all individuals involved, as well as fair competition within the industry. A defining moment for the U.S. airline industry was when the Airline Deregulation Act was passed by Congress on October 24, 1978. The Civil Aeronautics Board released some of its control over to the airline industry, enabling companies to effortlessly access new courses and routes, as well as liberally determine prices that are driven by the competition. Prior to this act, the Civil Aeronautics Board was in charge of regulating airfares and determining which routes each airline was able to operate on. When we fast forward to the world of today, aviation has become something so numb and a part of normality. There are such huge numbers of various organizations among the universe of avionics, all contending with each other. Every company feels the need to be superior to the next, to have the most clients, the best planes, and to generally be the next best thing. Two of the biggest organizations that are a part of the opposition to have the best numbers, compensation, wage, and so forth are Spirit and JetBlue. Spirit Airlines was established in 1964 as Clipper Trucking Company, a Michigan partnership, and in 1974 changed its name to Ground Air Transfer Incorporated, and then again changing its name and assignments another time before officially becoming Spirit Airlines. Expansion of the company continued through the years, adding the Chicago market and then integrating into the Spanish-language customer service industry in 2001 by entering San Juan, Puerto Rico. Today, Spirit has continued to develop its company in numerous ways. From its beginnings to its present position, Spirit Airlines makes every effort to give low admissions and be in solid support of its clients. Following a straightforward business model, Spirit Airlines attempts to have low base airfare costs as much as possible. All other services Spirit Airlines offers, such as checked bags, carry-on luggage, food and drink, and boarding passes, are separate fees. The airline believes that passengers should not have to pay for services that they do not use. By making each fee independent of each other and having lower ticket prices, Spirit Airlines hopes that it will attract passengers that otherwise would have just rented a car or gone on a train to reach their destination. This business model relies on having a higher passenger volume to increase Spirit Airlines revenues as well as the revenues of auxiliary services. JetBlue Airways was founded by David Neeleman. He dreamt of creating an airline that, according to him, would bring back humanity into air travel. These airplanes would offer 24 stations of live satellite TV at each seat, a first for the aircraft business. JetBlue found its niche, its timing, and its success. JetBlue Airways' business model was built upon customer service satisfaction. While competing with Spirit Airlines for being a lower-cost company compared to other airlines the two organizations compete with, JetBlue found innovative ways to bring passengers aboard their aircrafts. They advertise a low-cost, no-nonsense, and always-there-to-serve business model. They are known for marketing a significant amount of leg space, free snacks in flight, as well as other services that conscious passengers prefer to have. While other airlines were struggling, JetBlue was able to rise above the fall because of its business model, their cost advantages, and no-nonsense approach. Charging for luggage and having more legroom are just two examples that are mentioned throughout many websites and history articles on the company that JetBlue has avoided to change until necessary or told otherwise by the FAA. The dream of treating their customers with loyalty and respect has not died, even through difficult times. In the airline industry, liquidity analysis ratios are utilized to measure an airline's short-term liquidity and cash flow. Although profits are currently declining in the industry because of an increase in fuel and labor costs, according to the International Air Transport Association, most of the airlines are still showing signs of profitability. Based upon the two formulas applied within liquidity analysis, the following results were produced. Spirit Airlines' current ratios indicate good short-term financial strength, whereas the resulting numbers for JetBlue are not as strong. This may be an indication that the company may have difficulty meeting its current obligations. Low values do not necessarily mean there is a critical problem, though. If JetBlue were to have worthy long-term prospects, they may be able to borrow against the prospects to assist in meeting current obligations. JetBlue's liabilities are also much higher compared to Spirit's. This could be for many reasons, such as expansion costs due to integrating more and more routes, as well as having to increase their staff. With the airline still trying to stay known to their public as well as low-cost airline company, these expansions could be difficult on the company. In the airline industry, there is no true cost of goods sold. Thus, the company does not usually use the inventory turnover ratio. Spirit Airlines and JetBlue Airways did not choose to adjust the inventory turnover ratio or use it for the years of 2015-2017, resulting in these numbers not being available. The following results indicate each company's accounts receivables turnover. Spirit Airlines has a larger accounts receivable turnover rate compared to JetBlue Airways. JetBlue also has a high accounts receivable turnover rate as well, though. Spirit's results are higher because they have much lower gross sales and net receivables in comparison to JetBlue. This means that they have less credit or total money owed to the company in the first place. Solvency ratios vary by each industry. Within the airline industry, airlines usually operate with much higher debt than other companies, therefore displaying lower solvency ratios. The airline industry solvency fluctuates based upon expenses from year to year. Examples of expenses that could affect the airline company's solvency ratio are labor and fuel costs. Although both of these expenses have an effect mostly on the company's short-term debt, they also can affect its long-term debt due to the rapid change in the industry becoming so competitive. The following results show Spirit Airlines and JetBlue Airways' debt and time interest earned ratios. Both companies show promise in the resulted ratios in their abilities to pay off their long-term debt. In the debt ratio formula, we see that both companies have about the same financial stability when it comes to repaying its long-term debt. The companies indicate that they have more assets than liabilities to repay. The time interest earned ratio indicates that both companies are able to pay off their interest expenses multiple times during that year by using their operating income. JetBlue's results show a lower decimal or percentage number than Spirit's because they have a larger operating income as well as a higher amount of interest expenses. This is because JetBlue, as well as many other airline companies shown in history, chose to keep a certain amount of net cash for when times in the industry get tough. Overall, both companies measure their high abilities to be solvent. The airline industry, just as the retail industry, experiences seasonality in its operations. The airline industry has a higher profitability during the summer months as well as on holidays or during the holiday season. Both Spirit Airlines and JetBlue Airways verify the expectations of the airline industry's profitable forecasts. In the rate of return on net sales, we see that the percentage of each sales dollar earned as net income is either increasing, decreasing by a percentage, or remaining the same from year to year. This indicates that the companies are growing efficiently or staying on track. They are remaining profitable. Both Spirit and JetBlue are using their assets in a positive light, but within the years listed, Spirit's percentage decreased from year to year, while JetBlue's percentage increased. This is because Spirit's interest rates increased and JetBlue's interest rates decreased. Both Spirit and JetBlue do not pay out cash dividends and do not plan on doing so. Nevertheless, the results indicate to the stockholders that the companies are earning a profitable amount of net income for every dollar they are investing. The earnings per share of common stock is the portion of the net income that would be earned if all the profits were paid out to its shareholders. The higher the amount, the more profitable the company is because they are able to pay out more money to their stockholders. Spirit Airlines has a much larger amount of earnings per share of common stock in comparison to JetBlue Airways. This is because Spirit's number of shares of common stock outstanding is much lower than JetBlue's. Based upon the results and comparisons between the 3 years chosen, Spirit Airlines is deemed to be creditworthy. They are able to pay their current liabilities with their current assets if asked to do so immediately, as well as they are highly solvent. Spirit Airlines proves to be able to manage both their short-term and long-term debts. As a result, Spirit Airlines could be extended credit. JetBlue Airways results prove that their creditworthiness could either be deemed creditable or they could be denied credit. This is because their results, though positive, are on the lower end in comparison to Spirit's. JetBlue's short-term liabilities may be difficult for them to pay immediately if asked to do so, as their liabilities are much higher compared to Spirit's liabilities. This does not mean that credit should not necessarily be denied or given from the company. According to the results, JetBlue proved to have a reasonable amount of solvency. JetBlue has a much larger operating income in comparison to Spirit, and yet is still able to indicate a positive percentage of assets financed with debt. JetBlue Airways' creditworthiness proves to be acceptable, but with caution depending upon the situation and the company loaning the extended credit. Although the airline industry has the potential for many ups and downs, it is a confident theory that it will continue to be a business that will be needed. The airline industry is one that makes travel simple, quick, and efficient. These characteristics support the investment attractiveness that this industry holds. Spirit Airlines' investment attractiveness has continued to increase according to the ratio results. Their total net income has risen each year and has been proven to be a profitable company. JetBlue also proves to hold a positive investment attractiveness. They have also continued to grow according to the results and continue to have an increasing and positive net income. Spirit Airlines must continue to increase their profits if wanting to maintain their creditworthiness. Spirit can improve their gross sales, as this would be beneficial to increasing their overall net profit. By taking this step, Spirit would be one step closer to improving its creditworthiness. JetBlue should reduce its debt ratio, as this is a critical factor when applying for credit. They also must decrease their current liabilities in order to improve their short-term financial strength. These little but profitable steps will begin the gradual improvement of the companies in order to improve and retain their positive creditworthiness. The most current developments within the airline industry show that aviation has become something so numb and a part of normality. Every company feels that they need to be superior. By these companies following their business models, they have continued to be profitable and successful within their industry. The results for each of the companies' ratios demonstrate that both companies have positive financial strength, with Spirit Airlines being stronger in certain aspects. Overall, both Spirit Airlines and JetBlue Airways are companies within the airline industry that show promise. If they continue to push past any hardships that may arise and maintain their customer loyalty satisfaction, the companies will be able to continue to grow. Taking the recommended steps will assist in the start of staying strong and profitable. This is the analysis of my two companies. Thank you.